Hello. Welcome to Easy Does It, where Easy does everything except apparently listen. According to some people on this network, Easy don't listen. No, he doesn't listen. I don't care what anyone else has to say because there's only one opinion that matters, and that is mine. Everyone else's opinion is bullshit. Um, and the only person who has a reasonable sports opinion in the whole wide world is me. Easy. So anyone else, yeah, y'all could save it. Anyone else could, you're entitled to your cute little opinions, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to think. But the fact of the matter is, only my opinion is the truth. And if you disagree with me, then you're just wrong because you're arguing with my opinions are facts. Like my opinions are like what the standard is. My opinions are what everyone should base their opinions on because whatever I think is reality and whatever anyone else thinks that's different from what I think is just someone making things up. So yeah, that is. So I just want to get that clear before I start the show. No, I'm kidding. I don't actually think that way, of course. But hi, welcome to the show. Good thing there's not really a lot to talk about with regard to the Chicago Bears these days. There's not an overwhelming question that's been going around with this team. This team is not in an enviable position. I'm sorry. Why am I being so sarcastic? Look, he's going to be your quarterback whether you like it or not. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. But I'm sorry on behalf of your feelings because I know how much it probably sucks to be moving on from a quarterback that you're in love with in order to get a guy who you think is just like the second or third coming of Satan. But it's gonna happen. It's like the Bears are going to draft Caleb Williams, and y'all are gonna have to root for him. And yeah, maybe he won't work out, but he's gonna be our quarterback. Like he is going to be the next quarterback of the Chicago Bears, and y'all are gonna have to get behind him. But I know that there's some people associated with this network who might want to even fade away from the Bears if they were to draft Caleb Williams because y'all don't root for the team as much as you root for being right. You don't root for the team as much as you root for your own personal players that you like. So yeah, it's I'm surprised, by the way, when Justin Fields recently said that he prefers LeBron over Michael Jordan and turn in the GOAT conversation, and y'all still want him. That just kind of blows my mind. But anyway, I know that's not really the point. Point is, Caleb Williams is going to be our next quarterback, and let's not let our skewed perception of what an offense looks like influence our true opinions on what the Bears should be doing. We don't know. Y'all don't realize because y'all pay attention to Bears football and almost exclusively Bears football. But what you don't realize is, like, it's okay to have a quarterback that doesn't have limitations. As a matter of fact, it's a good thing. Anyway, I'm gonna add my friend to the show, high school football coach and great friend of mine, the token Eagles fan on the podcast, Noah Gross. If I could click this button, yeah, there we go. Hey Noah,
happy evening. Happen to be here as always.
Yeah, always happy to have you on.
Can I say one thing before we get into like it? Can I say one thing?
Yeah, please.
I find it interesting that certain people on this podcast network who will just completely ignore the opinions of people who get paid to analyze prospects for a living and have been paid to analyze prospects for a living for multiple decades. He doesn't care about their opinions, but suddenly he feels like he can tell you whether or not you care about opinion. Whatever. That's just
look.
That's just me. That's all. I'm good now. I'm sorry. I'm good now. I'm good.
Yeah, no. Look, man, you're preaching to the choir here, and it's also it's one of those things where it's okay. So we talk all the time in the chat. We talk about Merrill Hodge and Merrill Hodge said that Caleb Williams isn't the guy. Merrill Hodge says that he's not special. Yada yada yada. But when Merrill Hodge recently backtracked on his statements and said, I just meant he's not special in the pocket, but out of the pocket, he's special, and his accuracy is the best in the draft. Like, okay, are we not going to talk about that, though? We're just going to talk about, like, the negative things.
Right.
Or, like, we're going to nitpick a clip from Chase Daniel where it sounds like Chase Daniel saying, I question his leadership or whatever. Chase Daniel loves Caleb Williams. Chase Daniel, his 18-minute breakdown was overwhelmingly positive.
Talk about this. Yeah.
But, yeah, exactly. And, we're not going to talk.
But clearly they're all wrong. And this one person on this network is right, obviously.
Yeah, these, it's not just, I will say it's not just one person on this network. It's a lot of people on this,
sure. But
who follow this network. A lot of people,
and everyone else is wrong. Sure.
A lot of people who follow the Bears. And like, if you look at Bears Twitter, a lot of Bears fans are like, oh, you got to keep Justin. You got to keep Justin. Why settle? Why are we settling for someone that we know can't handle dysfunction?
Right.
And don't give me that, he wasn't given enough. No. My point is, I'm not saying that the Bears did enough to support him. That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is he cannot be the guy who overcomes dysfunction. Correct. He absolutely cannot. I mean, okay. and there are players in the NFL who can do that. Lamar Jackson, we don't really know because the Ravens are such a good organization. But Josh Allen,
that's a great example. Lamar has had no running game when is the last time Lamar, like in his career, when has Lamar had good running backs or good receivers in his entire?
No, that's true. That's true.
MVP level numbers. And
my point is, like, the franchise
haven't been great, but he's gotten there like every time, more or less.
Hey, Dad, welcome to the show. Glad you're here. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, okay, maybe Lamar's somewhat of a good example because he's never had like these elite premier players on offense with whom to work. Although the one thing is, I will say, like, the Ravens are an institution, like a really, really strong organization, right? So the two quarterbacks who come to mind, and I mean, obviously Patrick Mahomes, I'm sure, could overcome dysfunction wherever he went.
Certain guys have the physical ability to do things.
The two guys who physically can overcome dysfunction in the NFL right now that I've seen are Josh Allen and CJ Stroud.
It's interesting. Those are good too. I would put Pat in there because
Pat, of course,
Pat's his own thing, right?
Remember, okay, yeah, and this is something I want to just kind of make clear. When we're talking about quarterbacks, and Noah and I talk about quarterbacks, you could always assume that we're not. We could always assume that we're not talking about Patrick Mahomes and we're not talking about Tom Brady because they're
outliers.
They have separated themselves as outliers.
There are always outliers to those rules.
Unless we specifically mention them, just kind of assume that we're talking about, mere mortals of quarterbacks.
So like guys who have the ability to overcome dysfunction in this league.
Yes.
I was here today. Josh Allen, who even before Stephon Diggs has mentioned, and honestly, I'll be like a little bit mildly critical. Like, they've given Allen a bit. They've never given him a run game, but they've given him weapons. Gabe Davis, and Kincaid, they've done their best.
The Bills were a joke before Allen got there, though. Like, that's terrible.
But in reality, who are guys that can really overcome in this league? There's not a lot. And bluntly, very obviously, Justin is not someone capable of overcoming not having everything around him. Look, Jalen Hurts probably couldn't overcome if he didn't have AJ and Smitty and the line, all that. Yeah, he's probably not playing as well as he does, but he has those things. He has,
right. And and he's done well with those things, and that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, if Justin Fields went somewhere else where like there was talent around him and like a good structure and support and whatnot, then yeah, maybe he could do a good job. But we don't have that.
Right.
We have never had that. We need
someone to overcome those things, and he's not that guy.
We need someone to come in and pull this franchise out of the depths of purgatory.
Right. And what's so frustrating as an outside observer is that, and I texted you this exact statement a couple of days ago. Bears fans, I want to be very clear, for the entire existence of the franchise, have been waiting for an above average quarterback.
Yes.
Not an elite one, not an all-pro, above average. From my counting, in the history of Chicago Bears franchises, they've had two in their system. Cutler, Orton. And you could argue Orton was just average.
Orton was like the definition of average.
So in my opinion, they've had one above average quarterback, and that was Jay Cutler.
Okay, well, we had one elite quarterback in Josh McCown. but that was just 1 year. So yeah.
But now looking for any excuse to discredit one of the best quarterback prospects of the century for bluntly no one on this podcast, on Twitter, on anything has given me any reason to discredit him other than Justin throw far, run fast. That's what it all comes back to.
But Noah, look, hey, everything I've read from
run fast. That's all that matters to you.
Everything I've read from my beloved associates say that Justin is bigger and stronger and faster than Caleb. What do you have to say to that?
Cool. Who gives a crap? I don't give a who. Cool. That's cool. You know what I want out of my quarterback? The ability to read a defense. The ability to
how about some pinpoint accuracy?
Ball and complete it. That thing Justin has a problem doing.
Yeah. How about
career less than 60%?
I feel like we're so antiquated in the way we look at offenses. It's like we think of quarterbacks as like, hey, because we grew up with, and I talked about this a little bit on my page today. Just like y'all grew up watching Bob Avellini, y'all grew up watching Vince Evans, y'all grew up watching Jim McMahon, who was a good quarterback when he was healthy, but he was always hurt.
Could be argued about average. I personally wouldn't, but if the best you can say is he could be,
Prime McMahon was a little bit like a Baker Mayfield, who, by the way, we gotta talk about that.
I like the compliment.
No, they're both very punky, both kind of do their own thing.
Scenario, great. You've had two above average quarterbacks.
Right, but the point I'm making is McMahon's always hurt. Well, he was always hurt, and so you got Steve Fuller, you got Mike Tomczak, these horrible quarterbacks. You just could not get it done. Jim Harbaugh, he was Jim Harbaugh was an okay quarterback. Probably not that good, but one of the better ones we've had.
Like we're grasping at straws here.
Yeah, exactly. But the point I'm making is that
and that's okay.
We're so used to these guys that it's like when our expectations are so low for what a quarterback should be that that we're like, oh wow, look at this Justin guy. He's amazing because he makes the occasional crazy splash play against the Dolphins, but then completely chokes in the fourth quarter.
And for me personally, it's not even like the choking of a quarter. It's the fact that he can't throw a 4-yard flat route and completely.
There's no consistency in the offense.
The fact he can't read a cover 2 and understand where the pockets are in the zone. It's like that's what gets it for me. I'm a Bears fan. It would frustrate you that you see these huge chunk plays and then the regression. That sucks. For me as an outside observer, I go, he doesn't do like the small stuff. And that's where I, as a fan of football and as someone who wants, but the Bears, for all intents and purposes, are my second NFL team. You are one of my close friends. You're a Bears fan. I have friends from University of Missouri. I have a lot of friends there who are Bears fans because everybody at Mizzou is from Chicago. I get it. Bears, I want them to do well. But to see people then be looking for reasons again to discredit Caleb when I just want y'all to be hyped that you're getting a generational quarterback prospect. Why can't you just be happy about that?
Yeah, it's and hey, Jeremy, welcome to the show. I'm glad.
Jeremy, inaccurate statement. Quote, everything you complain about Justin, the same issue with Caleb. Inaccurate. Justin
completely
cannot
false.
read a field.
Completely
Caleb
false.
Can. Justin cannot complete a 4-yard flat route. Caleb can. Jason doesn't have the ability to complete sideline passes. Caleb does. You simply, with any amount of rational, critical thought, as a pure quarterback, thrower of the football, reminder, that's the job of a quarterback, you can't say the same complaints about Justin or the same complaints about Caleb. That's a factually inaccurate statement.
Yes. And people, a lot of people like to say that, it's the fans and the media, the talking heads who are saying, oh, you gotta keep you gotta move on from Justin to keep Caleb, and it's the players, but the actual players are the ones saying no, you gotta you gotta roll with Justin, see what you got, like Keyshawn Johnson, saying roll with what you got, keep Justin Fields and build around him. But then when Brian Baldinger comes out and says, here I have the tweet, it says, in most games over the past 3 seasons there are highlights to gush over, but his mechanics and eyes and the athletic ability are undeniable. Right, Brian Baldinger, who's so well respected in the scouting community.
One of the
and just
more
in the
respected
film
guys
community.
out there in regards to
Yes,
scouting.
without a doubt, they love him. We love Brian.
Love Baldy, absolutely.
And when he says things that fit certain narratives, then he's beloved. But now just complete radio silence when he says things that are positive in favor of our boy Caleb. But yeah, I think that the frustrating thing to me is just the tendency to pick and choose what to believe when it comes to
fit the narrative. Absolutely.
Yes. And I mean, mechanics. I don't. I've heard mixed reviews on Caleb's mechanics. Like maybe his footwork isn't the best. Haven't we learned as Bears fans that footwork doesn't really necessarily matter as long as you're able to get the ball to the guys?
And here's what's weird to me when it comes to
we've been getting our ass kicked by Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and now Jordan Love. Like for,
we just kind of went
years.
We get it there. You know what I mean?
Our footwork. You know who's good footwork? Mac Jones. Mac Jones is good footwork. He does.
Shot it back uncalled for, but yes, you make a good point. No, it's a good point.
Yeah. No, like that's the one of the things that he does pretty well is he has good footwork.
And like
he doesn't have good arm work.
Crazy to me is like, so when Caleb does something like, I don't know, cries after a game to his mom, that's an issue for Bears fans. That is a character flaw. But when Justin unfollows the Bears on social media and goes on a podcast and says, well, like, just because you don't follow a girl on Instagram doesn't mean you're not messing with her. Silence. You guys don't, there's no problem. You have no problem with who you guys say is the franchise quarterback unfollowing everyone on social media, then going on a podcast, and then on top of that, praising the players in Atlanta. That isn't an issue. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely, I have not been a fan of Justin's passiveness in general.
Seriously, if they were willing to be moderately critical of Justin, but there are so few Bears fans who are willing to do so. That's my personal opinion.
The thing that makes no sense to me, and like the things that I'm gonna pick apart when it comes to people picking apart Caleb Williams is, first of all, yeah, he cried to his mom after the game. You know what that means? It means he cares.
He
wants to win. That's what it means. It means he gives a shit. Like, are we really going to hold that again? Like, there are so many.
This shit, man.
There are so many, top prospects within our lifetimes who have actual red flags in terms of their character issues. Like Jamarcus Russell, who wouldn't watch any of the film. Like, they gave him blank tapes.
And they gave him blank tapes, right.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, yeah, I watched him. Oh, here comes Frank. Welcome to the show, Frank. It means he's a crybaby. Oh, look at Frank.
Oh, is Frank not able to get in touch with you?
Oh, Frank with the little name calling. Yeah, Frank likes to belittle Caleb, and, he just likes to belittle him, likes to call him stupid.
That's okay, because French have to live with the fact that this guy's gonna come in and be his quarterback and be awesome. Like,
yeah, oh no, we're getting an awesome quarterback.
I'm supposed to feel bad for you. What? Like,
look, eventually, I do think Caleb will come in, and
he'll be so good.
Look, if I'm being honest, I think he's gonna come in. I think he's gonna struggle a little bit. He's gonna struggle a little bit year one, and people are going to blow. Like, people are going to just blow him up. Like, they're going to be so mad at him for how badly he does early on.
Wait. Caleb is controlling all the narratives. Yeah, because all the narratives coming out about Caleb have been so positive, right? Because
if the Bears didn't have the number one pick,
is so good, right? So clearly,
if the Bears didn't have the number one pick, we wouldn't even be talking about Caleb. Correct, but guess what, Ace? We do. We do have the number one pick.
Chicago Clubhouse Network. That's what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah. We have the number one pick.
Love you, Robbo.
We have the number one pick. Like, are we forgetting the fact that it is the number one pick?
Okay, wait. I don't mean to cut you off. Jeremy made a really good point I want to acknowledge. If Caleb comes in and struggles, he's getting a second coordinator in 2 years. Caleb has the ability to overcome that. He is talented enough as a quarterback to get a second offensive coordinator in 2 years and be good. I have confidence saying that. You know who you can say with absolute certainty can't?
Justin Fields.
No.
Because Justin Fields is not showing that he could...
rationale. No. I know. It's annoying.
Yeah, no, I know. But no, it's not exactly everyone's favorite thing. It's not really... Bears fans aren't really big on the whole logic, rationale thing.
And so, if this comes off truly, if this comes off mean, I don't mean it to be. I have acknowledged several times in this podcast.
By the way,
Steelers
real quick,
fans
no, I
are
do think
right?
I'm not sure. I do think Ace meant his comment more supportive. Like over the past few days, he's like, no, like, you know, over the last 2 days, no teams want to trade for the number 1 pick. That's bullshit. Like, I think I don't quite know what Ace is trying to say.
I actually give Ryan Pace a ton of credit. I give him a lot of credit for putting out that statement where he was like, well, we don't want to, if we were going to trade Justin, it's right on our part to do it within the next week or so, or whatever he said, because he didn't actually, like, he doesn't really care about doing right by Justin. That puts pressure on other teams. So let's play hypothetical for a second. Let's say the best offer you're getting right now is, let's say, a 2nd-round pick from Atlanta. Ryan Pace now says the deadline for trade Justin is this week. Atlanta now has to give you a 3rd. They now need to give you a 4 and a 5. He's playing the game very well, and I give Poles a lot of credit for that.
When you said Ryan Pace, did you mean Poles or did you mean Pace?
Deadline that exclusively helps the Bears.
No, wait, did you mean Pace or did you mean Poles?
Or Poles, my apologies.
Okay, because Ryan Pace is with the Falcons.
No, right. Poles.
That's why I got a little confused. But yeah, okay. Yeah. And no, I think
Poles, Chicago's general manager a lot of credit for essentially establishing an arbitrary deadline that forces the rest of the teams in the league to up their ante. That was very smart on his part.
Yes, no, I completely agree. I completely agree. And yeah, Frank, yeah, you know, Lord knows that you never misspeak or say anything wrong.
Right, my single misword of a single name discredits everything I said.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, especially given that, like, I mean, this is not even your team. Like, this is not your number 1 team. Yeah,
I do my best to know who the GMs are of other teams. I do my best to. My apologies, I'm not perfect.
Here, let's see. I think that's pure stability. Caleb, who is a soft quarterback, when things go wrong, he crumbles. He has down all year against. No. Okay, that top defensive stat is so skewed because of the one Notre Dame game. You know, the one game that Chicago fans watch because Chicago fans are Notre Dame fans, which makes so much sense when you really think about it. But
all the sense in the world, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, his one game, like the one game where he threw 3 picks against Notre Dame, like his one bad game, really his one bad half. Yeah, they're gonna talk about that. Like they're gonna beat that.
And also, like, Ace, great point. The team around him wasn't particularly impressive, and like he couldn't really overcome. He will step into the league again, giving the Bears their credit, with DJ Moore as a number 1 receiver, Cole Kmet, in my opinion, a top 15, arguably 10 tight end, and offensive line they put a lot of effort and resources into it, and also a ton of cap space. If you don't think some of that's going to some sort of offensive weapon to help him, you're crazy. It absolutely is. On top of that, you've got the 9th pick, which no one on this podcast network wants to talk about, but that's fine.
Oh no, we'll get there.
You'll be getting him help in year 1, and you'll be cheap for multiple years. Like it, and like I truly think I was talking to you the other day. He walks into the league as arguably the 3rd or 4th best quarterback in the NFC. Because the NFC quarterback ain't that great.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, look, who are you putting over him? Like, I mean, Jared Goff, Cousins, Hurts, Love, maybe. I
mean, and these are all like maybe. Like, he's this talented. Like,
yeah. Oh, Frank's like, oh, let's not forget, USC backup quarterback played against a top 25 quarterback. Like, played against top 25 defense. Look what he did.
It's so Bears fans to pick like one game here and one game there to discredit multiple seasons and be like, but this one, but this one.
Yeah, no, and when you say Justin can't adapt, that's crazy. Outside of DJ Moore, 90% of wide receivers are not even the 4th best wide receiver on teams. First of all, that's not true. Darnell Mooney goes to a lot of other teams. I'm sure he puts up very good numbers. Secondly, I'm sorry. I just seem to remember that a quarterback's job is to get the most out of his receivers. Like, that's what the great quarterbacks are able to do. That's what Josh Allen does with fucking Gabriel Davis. You would not know Gabriel Davis is.
We've also reached a point where it's like, if your argument is that Justin as a runner and all that and what he offers, if that's your argument, there's validity. If your argument is 3 years into his career, he is good as a passer, or like there's bluntly any excuse for why he hasn't gotten better, there's not one. You can blame the coaching and the whatever, and you can try to make him any excuse. But like we talked about the other day, he had a game where he threw like 15 passes in his 3rd year in the NFL.
Yeah,
we would crucify any other 3rd-year quarterback in the NFL for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's at a certain point, it's like, yeah, you know, and I want to be clear, like my criticisms of Luke Getsy are legit. Like, I do really firmly believe he was a bad offensive coordinator. There's no denying that. And I think that a quarterback's job at a certain point is to transcend that. A quarterback's and I think that not ever really been able to do. So you draft Caleb. So Frank's saying, so you draft Caleb. What you doing at 9? Drafting a receiver. Then you're leaving Caleb with this offer. With this offered.
Potentially, if if Odunze
I don't know what that
there,
means.
or if like a receiver drives, maybe Malik Neighbors if he falls at some point, or if
no. We have the same answer for this too. Get me Fashanu. Get me fucking Fashanu.
No, yeah. To be abundantly clear, blue chip prospects at premium positions matter.
So, Jeremy, that's different. They were winning. They were up like 24 points in the first half. Like this was a game where.
And again, we're doing it. We're again doing the look at this individual game versus all. And this has been my frustration with Bears fans in general talking about Justin v. Caleb is that on like, or even like in general, it's like there's so much stuff on this side and there's like this much stuff on the other side, and they go that one. Because it has like 3 things. It just like there's so much stuff on the scales that weigh it down this way, and they just don't care.
Okay, but what I think people also are having a very hard time understanding, just specifically with regard to Justin, is that, or no, with regard to Caleb is, and this is something I just want to make clear to Frank, is that like the numbers in those 6 individual games against top 25 defenses, if you take away the Notre Dame game, the numbers are pretty good. It's just, it is that one game that's going to skew it. And it's that one game that you know about because that's the game that you paid attention to.
I would also expect someone to do worse against better defenses. That's like a logical, like, if you're going against a good defense, you would struggle more.
And also remember, like, it is college. It's not the NFL. It's not like, it's like USC is physically overpowered by some of these schools that have NFL ready defensive players. Like it's Washington's been producing amazing corners left and right, like every year. They have, usually some pretty good linemen. Like they have, in Oregon, like, can you imagine if Caleb was on Oregon or Washington this past season? I'm just saying, like, it would have been in a lot different story. It's not, you can't just conflate college and the NFL because right. If you put a great,
they're very different, guys. They're very different things.
It's like the difference. I'd argue that the difference between the best NFL team and the worst NFL team is a lot smaller than the difference.
Absolutely. Phenomenal point. And that's the thing, is that talent. By the time you get to the NFL, guys are a certain level of baseline talented. Like at a certain point, they're already like good enough to do certain things. He holds the ball and forces throws.
I guess you're throwing a fit. No, you're throwing a fit. You're throwing a fit right now. This is a fit, Noah. You're throwing a fit when this guy hasn't done anything in the NFL yet.
Fit, I don't know what some of our personal other discussions in our past lives have been classified as. If this is a fit, wow.
Oh man, if that's a fit, y'all should see Noah when the Eagles are tied at halftime.
It's an ugly scene. But look, I understand that there are certain people who, and this is my thing, talking about Justin, Caleb, Bears, whatever. And I'm talking about this with you. We've sort of reached the point. There's no new information, right? He's not going to be at the combine. There's no new stuff to come out, right? You are in my head. Bears fans can be in one of 3 camps. I want Justin. I want Caleb. I want them to just make a decision, and I'll be happy either way. And I know people in each of my individual camps.
Oh, I'm in that last one.
My best friend from Missouri is in the last camp. His thing is like, look, he's an Ohio State fan. He likes Justin, thinks he's talented, thinks he can be good. Also, fully acknowledges how talented Caleb is. You can do both, by the way.
I do. Yes, I want to be clear. Like, Justin's talented, and I do think he can be very good. I just think Caleb has a better chance at being a lot better. That's where I'm at.
That's a phenomenal. To your point, a better chance of being a lot better. The percentage chance of not just being good, but being significantly better is much higher. That matters. That inherently matters.
And all I know is that, like, the book on how to beat Justin is out. Green Bay does it every time they play him. How do they beat him? They make him play quarterback.
And when he's asked to do that in year 3, he can't do it. So I really need. I have not gotten an answer based in logic or statistical evidence as to why in year 3, when he's asked to play quarterback, he can't. I am answered with some emotional argument about he doesn't, the coaching or the receivers, or it may be. And there's some validity to Eagles' point. I'm not denying that.
Sure. And yeah, like, I mean, look,
y'all, none of y'all have an answer for me when I say, why can't he in year 3 be an NFL quarterback? No one has an answer.
Yeah, there's like, and
you can give me
really
any vacation you want about coaching, weapons, whatever. When I ask, but why isn't he good enough? No one has the answer.
There are, and look, there are definitely, yes. And again, I always have to acknowledge
the caveats.
There are a lot of things that have not gone his way.
Absolutely.
You know, like Robert Tonyan dropping an easy touchdown pass, whatever. But like, it's not like that. Like, it's just like, again, like we pick and choose like a couple plays here and there. But at the end of the day, like when it's the fourth quarter and he's driving at the end of the game, I don't trust him to make the play. I have no reason to trust him to make the play.
Do you trust him on third, or even let's even back up from that? Do you trust him on 3rd and 4 to throw it to the flat and complete it?
No. Third down is
Jeremy's question. Define NFL QB. Someone who you feel confident throwing to the flat on 3rd and 4.
Yes,
I think that's a reason. If I'm a spoiled Eagle fan, tell me. I think that's a reasonable request out of your.
No, I think honestly, I always judge quarterbacks on what they could do on 3rd down on the road. And I don't know what Justin's stats are on 3rd down on the road. I've seen him convert some. I've seen him not convert some.
Great point. I'm so sorry to cut you off. Rob just made a great.
Yeah, because Frank was talking about, Hall of Famers say Justin has a unique skill set with horrible play calling.
Sides, guys.
Yeah, well, Urlacher is a Hall of Famer who says move on.
Hey, Rob.
Dad, yes. Easy and Noah, would you rather have a lineman whose name I can't spell, Fashanu, or Bowers, one of the receivers? Good question.
Ooh,
I like Brock Bowers. And no, look, I know Noah's answer. Noah would say, Noah would say, look, no, I'm gonna guess what Noah would say. I think Noah would say,
guess for me. Go ahead, bud.
Okay.
I like this.
If Joe Alt or Fashanu is available, you got to get Alt or Fashanu. But if they're not available and you take Bowers, you'd be like, okay. That's what you say.
Okay, so
am I right or am I right?
More or less. So I briefly brought up positional value of blue chips. A offensive tackle is inherently more valuable at the NFL level than a safety. Can we agree?
But yes.
A edge rusher is inherently more valuable at the NFL level than an offensive guard. That's the general accepted consensus in the NFL.
Yes.
So if you have the ability to take a blue chip offensive tackle like Fashanu or Alt, that supersedes taking a lesser, an equally good player at a lesser position like a wide receiver or a tight end. That said, I'm a massive Bowers fan. So if y'all walk out with Bowers at 9, to me, bluntly, if you got him at 9 versus Odunze at 9, be equally as happy. That's how big a fan of Bowers I am.
Yeah. Run a bunch of 12 personnel all game. And
Fashanu is there. That is a blue chip offensive tackle, arguably a top 3 important position in the NFL. You get a blue chip prospect. You sprint the pick to the board.
Oh, then you got 2 really good bookend tackles on rookie deals.
Absolutely, which is phenomenal. And it's again, we talk, and this is like another thing when it comes to the Justin versus Caleb discussion. Money matters. I know Bears have a lot of money this year, but that money, like when you pay it out, it works out. You're going to have to pay Justin this year or next year. Like the money matters. If you can get 2 booking offensive tackles and not be paying an offensive tackle $20+ million for the next couple of years, you can spend that money in so many cool ways, Bear.
Oh
hey, Bears fans, you can spend it in so many fun ways, getting so many fun players.
We get a running back.
Cool.
We get a running back.
We can get a running back. Yeah.
Nice. I love running back. Frank, to respond to your comment, Justin throwing to the flat on 3rd and 4. If you actually run a route on 3rd and 4, that will get to the stick. We will call a draw or a 20-yard pass or a lovely screen pass.
Hey, Frank. It's because they don't trust him to actually make a completion on 3rd and 4. Do you actually think in your head, in his 3rd year in the NFL, the reason they call these plays on critical downs is because they are so inept at coaching, they are unable to call good plays? Or is it more likely they don't trust Justin to execute a good play? I am genuinely curious.
Also, in my head,
the latter is far more likely.
Also, they'll probably run a read option on that play because that's what quarterbacks do on 3rd down. Like you call read option if he's fast, right? No, and more like than that though. Like, okay, if you have a problem with the play calling, that's fine. Justin needs to change the play. Justin needs to change it. Justin needs
and if
to.
you can't in year 3 do it, you ain't good enough. Also, to answer Robo's question, the Jalen Johnson holdup, he doesn't a holdup. He will be a Bear, to be 100% clear.
Agreed.
Either they're going to get an extension done or they're going to tag him. If they weren't going to, they would have traded him at midseason for a day 2 pick. He will be a Bear. It's the question of how much money will it be, because I believe he's coming off an all-pro season, correct?
Yes. Yes.
First all-pro. So it's like his management's going to say, oh, he'll be an all-pro going forward. We want this number. They say it's his first all-pro. We want this number. They'll meet in the middle and he'll get paid. Don't worry. Jalen Johnson will be
no, we got your question from Jeremy. I'm excited. I know what you're going to say to this one. Go back to 2021. If Caleb was available to the Eagles in 2022, would you have gotten rid of Hurts?
I want to be very, very clear. There are less than 10 current NFL quarterbacks I would take over Caleb Williams. If I had the ability to trade, I would trade Jalen Hurts and draft picks for Caleb Williams. Guys, Bears fans, that's how good Caleb is. And no, well, you said that about Justin. No one said that.
No, we fucking didn't. No, you fucking didn't.
That's why he fell to the 9th pick. And that's not talked about.
There's a reason he was the
first overall pick. I need people to understand.
He was the 4th quarterback taken.
First overall pick, right? Guy who falls to the 9th pick. There's a gap here. There's a gap.
Yeah, no, well, thank God you're bit a GM. Thank God you're bit a GM, dude. Yeah, no, I love when people don't have an argument and they just say, oh, well, you don't know football.
What is it about Frank that makes him think his intellect is so superior to every NFL scout, everyone, again, outside of the occasional Merrill Hodge, or like, so you got, again, it's got whole lists of experts who get paid to do this, saying Caleb good. Tiny list of like 3 guys say Caleb bad. He go Caleb bad. I don't get the logic. I don't get it. Personally, my ego isn't so big that if everyone who gets paid to do it says a guy is good, and I go, meh, I don't think so. My ego isn't so big that I look at it and I go, they're probably right, and I should look more into it.
Look,
that's what I say. That's my reaction.
Talking about, and by the way, like the Eagles are known for, like, y'all moved on from Wentz very quickly.
And they spent a lot of money to do it too.
Yes. Trevor Manning was labeled generational talent. Arch Manning labeled generational talent.
Lawrence he played very well and also had like some of the worst drops in the NFL last year.
But look, you also
need to completely erase his rookie year because that was like the worst, like most dysfunctional rookie.
Yes, I don't hold that. No, I can't hold that.
Way more dysfunctional.
Trevor Lawrence has lived, like, as far as I'm concerned, he's a franchise quarterback. Like, there's no question about it. I think Justin,
I think he's met his hype. I don't think he hasn't.
Yeah, I think maybe slight disappointment, but not really.
And not really. I mean, like Andrew Luck, would you call him like a disappointment? Like, he retired early, but
yeah, no, I mean, like he was really good throughout his career. He won playoff games. He won playoff games in Denver. Like he just couldn't beat Belichick and Brady. And that's
like sue him. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, honestly, so neither can go to the league.
No, because they don't want to reset the clock. Because they want to reset the clock. Duh, that's clearly obvious. They care about the money. I care. Why, Frank? Why would analysts care about the money? Analysts don't care about the money.
It has no impact on analysts.
Yeah, you think Brian Urlacher's
why would Mel Kiper care what the Bears?
Why would Brian Baldinger care about the Bears?
It's just not like a logical statement.
that doesn't really connect there.
There's not like a connection there, right?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
So Jeremy made a good point right now. So with like a logical connection, franchise quarterback, generational, different. I agree. Those are
absolutely.
I would personally argue that as of right now, Trevor is a franchise quarterback with generational potential. Guess what? Justin's neither.
It's true.
And you have the ability to get someone who's both, and you don't want him.
I do think,
not having one for 80 years of your existence, y'all don't deserve him, frankly. Like at this point, I'm like,
no, I don't think we deserve him. Shit, I don't think we deserve him at all.
Justin, and do your thing. Fine.
I don't think we deserve him. Yeah, generational talent, Mahomes, and that's it. I don't know about that. I think Josh Allen.
So that's it. So was Andrew Luck generational? I think he was. Was Peyton generational? I think he was.
Yes.
And again, at a certain point, when you hear, again, people who have been around this league in front offices, in scouting departments, on networks, saying he's at that level, and you sit there and go, I don't think he is. How big is your ego, your need to whatever to say I'm right and they're wrong. That's just so
like,
crazy.
I don't understand where.
I just don't get it, frankly.
Yeah, I don't know where people get. You said scouts, guys. Scouts. Okay, I don't know what he means. I think he meant the Bears care about the money. In case I misunderstood, but they should care about the money. Resetting the clock is a good thing. Yes, absolutely. Resetting the clock,
especially at the quarterback position. If you can get someone who is like as good, or in this fucking case, better than Justin for like 50 million less or 40 million less, then you don't have to pay him next year. You should do that. That's a lot of money to put in other places, at interior defensive line, at running back, to improve, to shore up the edge rusher, put someone next to Montez Sweat, maybe an Andrew Van Ginkel or something like that, who I think is a perfect fit for this Bears defense. I know we have to talk about the only thing we talk about is Justin and Caleb. I know it's one thing you guys care about, but like there are other things that matter. There are other things that matter, and having that money can address those things.
Oh, absolutely. And by the way, the question, Frank, was before 2022. So it was 21 to 2022. Where we didn't know, like we knew Jalen Hurts was good, but we didn't know he was this good. He hadn't been an MVP candidate until 2022. So yeah, if it was going into 2022, absolutely you would have taken the shot on Caleb.
Right, Look at Frank moving the goalpost. What a shocker! Even on top of that, like if you could tell me, can I swap Jalen's very expensive contract when I love Jalen, played very well, but like, and I think he's still a top 8-5 quarterback, that ballpark. I don't know if he's top 3. And personally, me internally, I don't think Jalen ever has the ability to be a top 3 to 5 quarterback in the NFL. I think Caleb Williams has the ability to be a top 3 to 5 quarterback in the NFL. I want to be very clear. You will not win a Super Bowl without a top 3 to 5 quarterback in the NFL. Yes, there are outliers of the Joe Flacco's and the whoever's. I get it. In today's football and generally speaking, you do not win a Super Bowl without a 3 to 5 top quarterback, right?
Would you consider Matthew Stafford a top 5?
When he won a Super Bowl, yes, he was.
He was
in that year. He was top 5, absolutely. So you're not going to.
I just want to be clear about like the Bears roster. Like, we talk about it like, oh, Justin did absolutely nothing. The Bears roster is not that bad. It's really not. Like there are some holes and whatnot, and it's not the best O line, but it's not horrendous. It's like the definition of middling, and it's like, yeah, you have a legit number 1 receiver, you have a really good tight end, like you have like it's not the worst roster in the world, which is why it's the perfect time to upgrade at the most important position.
Exactly.
That's kind of what I'm saying. It's crazy that you guys think that Justin can't be a franchise QB when all I see on Get Up is get him to Atlanta to change the franchise, get him to Pitts and he changes the franchise.
No, that's a fair point. No, so he's making a fair point, but I think he's making a fair point, but I think he's conflating things. The idea with Atlanta is that it's a fresh start. It's new, right? New offense, new coach, new weapons, all new stuff. And the idea is if you put him in a new system with, this is the hypothetical, right? With hypothetically better coaching, he becomes a better player. That's the hypothetical on why he will get better. It's not because of like how good he is. It's because, he'll go to a better situation. That's the difference, right? It's not that he'll go to Atlanta and like
and the whole reason why
he'll be in a better situation in Atlanta, which again is the hypothetical that I don't necessarily agree with. Like, yeah, he has Pitts and London, which is like a little bit better than what Chicago has. He'll also have Bijan. And again, so like he'll have Bijan, who hypothetically he gives the ball 25 times a game, and now he can run a bunch of play action and have guys wide open, and now not have to worry about those flat routes in 3rd and 4. Sure, I agree. That makes him better. Sure.
Yeah, that's
fine. Guys do better.
And that's kind of the whole point that I'm making about why I ultimately decided to be, to lean towards we should definitely draft Caleb side of things, is because, like I've been saying throughout the show, and like I'm saying right now, Justin needs a good situation to succeed. He needs a good situation. Caleb can transcend any rough situation. Right. And the reason why I brought up CJ Stroud earlier is because you wouldn't know who Tank Dell is if he was just on any team. You wouldn't know fucking Tank Dell. Like, no, you wouldn't know who Tank Dell was if he played for the Panthers. You probably wouldn't know who Tank Dell was if he played for, I don't know, the Seahawks
Nico
or something.
Collins having a breakout season.
Yep. Yeah, coincides with having the Rookie of the Year, who is really, really good.
I'll actually give you another point.
Rich Tellendar wrote a story today saying that the only way Bears fans to really know what Fields is for him to leave. Yeah, and honestly, look, I was bullish on Trubisky. Then he left and he went to the Steelers, which is a functional organization, and he sucked. He sucked, and that's I don't want to get. I'm not going to get burned like that again.
Right.
And and look, I'm not saying Justin is worse than Trubisky or as bad as Trubisky. I think he's more talented than Trubisky for sure. But like, there are definitely some parallels there in terms of just like having general limitations, offensively.
Right.
Like,
They were both
either of them as a starter.
passers, both limited in their abilities to they are both limited in their abilities to execute an NFL offense. Is that
what
and
really
and again, I don't understand how someone could disagree with that statement. I don't know how one could sit here and say, no, Justin is good at executing NFL offenses. I don't know how you could say that right now.
No, you can't.
And we're in year 3, going into year 4.
Haven't seen it.
That would, if I'm a fan, it really would scare me. So like when everyone talking about like, oh, Eagles fan or whatever. So like when Jalen got his like first full year as a starter, remember he came in for wins and they got crushed in Tampa, whatever. I was like, oh, if he can't do it this year, they're gonna move on next year. Because if you can't do it now, you ain't doing it then. And he did it now. And so he stayed.
Really
That's how it works. You show ability and then get rewarded as such. Justin hasn't shown the ability as well.
It's true. It's true. And another thing I want to say is, it's also like we got to stop just kind of like picking. Okay, wait. That's not true on that statement with Tank Dell. Did you know who Puka Nacua was before this year? Noah might have. I did not.
So I'll be honest, I was
but that's also like,
I actually thought he was more the guy who ran like the slowest 40 or whatever. But like, yeah, there are draft darlings every year. But to sit here and say that Tank Dell's success as a rookie is not directly correlated to how good CJ is just it's just not like an honest.
And I mean, also at the same time, you could, and I'm not going to knock Puka.
Or like Puka probably helped having Sam Bradford or Matt
Stafford.
Christ, Matt Stafford throw to him.
Yeah. You said the wrong name.
I said a word wrong, so now I'm wrong. That's how it works. Remember?
Here comes Mr. O'Dowd. No, I'm kidding, Frank. It's all love, Frank. But yeah. Also, by the way, yeah, I don't think Puka necessarily would have had I don't think Puka would have had the best year if Desmond Ridder was throwing him the ball. Like, I think you know what I mean. I know you love your Desmond Ridder. You love Desmond. But
I don't know. I thought he was the good one in the class.
Yeah, no, he's like I still think he's.
It was a bad quarterback class. I liked him. He was a good athlete.
He's classic backup material. That's what he is. He's classic backup material. Yeah,
but there is so much excitement to talk about with the Bears, and like this is what's frustrating is like anytime I'm here, be like, hey, like you have another top 10 pick, and you're gonna get a 9th overall.
We'll get there real quick. We'll get there in a minute. But one more thing I want to say is we got to be careful on this network about just kind of picking and choosing what we want to hear. Because last time I was on Chicago Club. I was on Chicago Clubhouse podcast 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about JB was asking like, oh, well, what does Caleb do that's better than Justin? And I'm like, well, how many hours do I have? But one of the main things is, like he's got that quick release. He gets rid of the ball so fast. He's got a really quick release, and he's got so much elasticity in his arm. It's like he's made of rubber or something. The way he just kind of slings it. And JB's like, and like they were like, oh, well, it's not that quick. I've read that he doesn't have the quickest release ever. And my dad sent this whole comment from PFF saying, like when he extends the play, that factors into his slow release time. But when he's like in the pocket, his release is as good as anyone else. And JB and Frank, I can't remember which one, but one of them clicked the comment and said like, and just kind of like read the first couple words and were like, see, look, your dad's agreeing with us. Like he doesn't have a quick release. I'm like, dude, did you
read the whole
just
comment?
Take the time to read what he actually wrote? It's like they're so desperate for something to fit your narrative.
Can I also make an argument?
Please.
And if I'm wrong, tell me to disagree. If Caleb played at Ohio State or Michigan or Notre Dame, a Midwest school that was playing at noon and whatever, as opposed to USC in California, who was regularly playing, quite bluntly, when a lot of the people on this network were not watching or sleeping, do you think people would be as actively anti-Caleb if they actually had watched with their eyeballs live?
Well, not sleeping.
One of the more traditional Midwest houses.
Yeah, but no, that actually is a really good point because we love our Midwest schools here. We love our
which is fun, and those there's a lot of talent for the Bears. I acknowledge that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, of course, and yeah, but no, I do think that the fact that he's a Southern California boy does piss off a lot of people because it's like, oh, we don't want a California boy. We don't.
He's a California kid who paints his nails.
We're a once tail. And also, like, I just want to say real quick, I don't give a shit that he doesn't want to throw at the combine. I do not. Oh, was JB? Thanks, Dad.
Name me the last time a top quarterback threw at the combine.
Oh, Richard Stewart. Welcome to the show, Richard Stewart. In 38 games, 174 yards, no 300-yard passing games, and no wins against the Fudge Packers. It's time for thank you, Richard Stewart.
Look at us
Welcome to the network.
Statistics and logic to make our points rather than emotional appeals. Look at us.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, look, it's the reality. Thank you, Richard. Welcome to the network.
Jeremy, I have a question. I have a question. How long has Justin been a starter? 2.5 years, correct?
Yeah, give or take.
If 2.5 years is not long enough for you to evaluate whether or not he's good enough to be an NFL quarterback, you need to be better as an evaluator.
Or you just need to adjust to the times because 2.5 years used to not be enough, but in today's NFL, absolutely enough. Like
in today's NFL, it needs to be.
Yes.
When we are more than end of the year demanding young quarterbacks to come in and be good immediately, which, to be clear, I think is unfair to quarterbacks. And there's probably a reason that the Packers have been really good because they let their guys sit for 2 years, but whatever. In a league where we demand young, immediate excellence, it's so bizarre. Again, you complain about Trevor not being an all-pro in year 3, but Caleb gets time to become one. Justin gets time to become one. He gets his time. Trevor doesn't. Totally. Yeah, I get it.
And the thing is, it's like, oh my goodness, it is frustrating. It's just frustrating in general. But I had another point I really wanted to make about Caleb Williams and why we need him. And my dad sent me a really interesting comment today just about how put Caleb with a lot of people in the are I've noticed are in the we don't need Justin Fields, we don't need Caleb Williams. You know who we do need? Brace yourself, Noah. Brace yourself. You know who we do need?
Hurt me.
Jaden Daniels. It's okay. Relax. No, it's okay. Noah, it's okay. It's okay. Relax, big guy.
I'm good. I'm back. I'm good.
Are you factoring wins and losses and getting rid of Justin? Okay, I'm gonna say this real quick. Yes, I am.
I'm gonna let you handle this one. This is yours. This is you. This is you.
People love to say wins and losses are not a quarterback.
I'm actually gonna run real quick and I'm gonna give me 30 seconds. I'm gonna let you just completely go off real quick.
Okay, yeah. And we're also gonna pay a bill in a minute too. But yes, wins and losses are absolutely a quarterback stat. I don't care what people say. I know. Quarterbacks don't play defense. I get it. I understand that. But in the NFL, the best quarterbacks are the ones who find a way, the ones who take advantage of the opportunities that defenses give them, the ones who get the most out of their receivers, the ones who are able to change plays, to tweak protections at the line. Yes, I am factoring wins and losses when I'm talking about getting rid of Justin, especially the 0-6 record against Green Bay, because Green Bay has infrastructure in place that is designed to stop quarterbacks who can't win from the pocket. That's always what they've been able to do. That's how they zeroed in on Trubisky. That's how they beat Justin Fields, is by keeping him contained and, by not letting him, run around on them. And look, I want to be clear, Jeremy, that I recognize that it's not a dichotomy, right? Like it's not one or the other, right? Wins and losses are not the telltale of whether or not a quarterback is good, but I think it is a much bigger factor than you are giving it credit, or maybe not you, but then some people give it credit for. I also think that it is fair to say Justin hasn't had a fair shake with the Bears, and we see the potential in what he could be. Yeah, I do think that's fair to say, but again, that just goes back to my point of I think Caleb can overcome a lot of the dysfunction that the Bears have, and I don't think that Justin necessarily has that in him. As a matter of fact, I'm sure Justin doesn't have that in him because of what we've seen the past 2.5 years. By the way, I just want to say, Frank, Jeremy. Oh, Jeremy's also JB. That's funny. And everyone else who's watching and tuning in, and commenting, and Ace. I know you were here at some point. Like it's all love and appreciation. Like I know we disagree fundamentally, but we all want what's best for the Bears. And I know it gets a little heated, but it is truly like I do really appreciate all this. And yes, Richard, oh my gosh, I so much agree with you. He weighs 175, too small, one good season to be a fluke, not to mention he's got 2 receivers who are going in the first round this year. Like LSU is a wide receiver factory. And I know you got to give credit to, I know Joe Burrow was amazing. And, had a lucky situation where he happened to be paired with Jamar Chase. But like Malik Neighbors is going to be a really, really good receiver. And I believe that I can't. Oh my gosh, I need to ask Noah. But is it Brian Thomas? I don't remember. I'll ask Noah when he gets back. But they got some really good receivers. So yeah, that's why I'm like, look, if you put freaking if Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels flipped teams this past year, LSU would have been national champ. Well, no, they wouldn't have been national champions because they still didn't have a defense. But like, I think Caleb would have definitely won the Heisman again. And I don't know how. I think Jaden Daniels is still very good. I think he would have done well with USC. But like, I do think they would have kind of had inverted seasons. But yeah, that's where I'm saying he's not getting a fair shake. He had a coach who didn't want him in year one. Tank season 2. And then, look, I get it. I know we were tanking that 1 year. I know we're tanking in year 2, sure, but we weren't tanking throughout the whole season. They were trying to win a lot of games until he got hurt. They were trying to beat Green Bay. They were definitely trying to beat Green Bay. He threw that game away. And I know people say, oh, well, Equanimeous St. Brown didn't fight back for the ball against Jair Alexander. And my response is, why are you throwing it to Equanimeous St. Brown if he's guarded by Jair Alexander? When David Montgomery is wide open in not in the flat, but he was it was he was the check down on that play. He was wide open. Like, yeah, no, I don't. No, I'm not with like I don't give him the they were tanking excuse because Justin's always like the quarterback plays to win. The quarterback isn't tanking. Quarterback's job is to get it done. Also, but I do see your point. I do see your point, but
also like okay, so like at the certain point,
by the way, Richard Stewart
at a certain point, the answer of like, oh, he didn't get a fair shake. Too bad. We are now like 3 years in. You have to pay him in a year. Sorry, I guess is my kind of answer. I now have the ability to get someone who is at minimum. Caleb walks into the league as good as Justin. At minimum, because like Justin hasn't proven himself. Like, Justin has proved nothing but his ability to be.
No, he's proven he can win at the NFL level. He's proven.
So when you say, like, oh, you don't know about Caleb, you don't know about Justin either. So he walks in at worst as good as Caleb, and he'll be a lot cheaper for a lot longer. So that is why. Okay, you got a bad shake of bad coaching. Okay, maybe you're Baker and you'll go somewhere and be cool and be good. Cool. It's not going to be in Chicago because it doesn't make sense for it to be. It's my favorite thing. Everything about like the Justin talk. Again, no one has brought me logical, rational, or statistical evidence as to why keeping him makes sense. It's all.
I will say I want to credit Jeremy for. I want to credit Jeremy because Jeremy is like I could see Jeremy's being logical. I don't agree with him, but there's logic there. I don't agree, and I know Noah, you might be a little harder on Jeremy than I am, but yeah. But that's actually really sweet. That actually is really sweet.
It's also a good point made.
Really solid point there, Emily. We appreciate it. Like actually no, that's actually really
good. For those who don't know, Caleb already before he's even stepped into the league has a foundation set up to help the youth with mental health struggles, particularly the youth within inner Los Angeles, which is like. Again, but like he's but
he paints his fingernails.
I'm sorry. I don't know. Okay, but you don't have a problem with Justin going on podcasts and praising other teams and talking crap on your team and unfollowing your team. That's not an issue. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah, all the games. Look, and all the games that Williams lost, the Divas gave up an average of 43 points. Holy fucking shit!
I didn't know that's my point. Okay. Can I say Richard is very quickly becoming my favorite person on the planet because every comment he has, whether I disagree, agree, or in the middle, it's based in logic and statistics, and I really appreciate that. So thank you.
And Richard, Richard, you definitely keep tuning in.
I want to shout him out. Like I
don't know if I've seen you on this before, but definitely keep tuning in. And shout Jeremy, Richard, yes, I want to acknowledge, because it's the same logic here, Jeremy, as 1 in 6 in games where the offense averaged 30 points in year 2. Yes, I remember that. I remember like that 6-game stretch where the Bears kept losing and they were actually scoring a lot of points. I also remember in those games, 1, a lot of garbage time touchdowns. And 2, I remember Justin not being able to get it done when it mattered. I remember him not getting it done against the Dolphins. Not necessarily his fault. There were some bad calls there, whatever. Still, couldn't get it done. I
Anthony
remember,
Stewart, you're just wrong.
the
He's
Atlanta
not
game,
going
well, they
anywhere.
didn't
He
give up
is.
30, but
You guys need to get in. You guys need to get it. Justin is not going to be your quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not. And if you want to sit
Richard,
here and be unhappy about it, it's okay. But
Richard's your brother? I didn't know that. That's awesome. Well, that makes sense. I know Amp and Noah, y'all are not going to agree on this, but Amp's real cool. Like Amp,
no, I'm sure he is. It's one of those like I saw guys as an Eagles like when Malcolm Jenkins left to go to New Orleans and signed a big contract, I was heartbroken because I loved him. I had to accept going into that offseason that Malcolm was leaving. Caleb's probably gone. Like it's okay.
Justin's gone. Justin's probably gone. Yeah.
Or Justin rather. Justin's probably gone. Thank you.
And by the way, just about that real quick. Wait, the Eagles. Oh yeah, you felt the same about Tremaine Edmonds. Not Tremaine. What's TJ. I'm sorry. There's two TE linebackers with very similar.
I get it. Believe me, I get it. Names are hard. I got you.
By the way, Noah was a huge. Obviously he loves our Edwards.
Did I not call him as an undrafted free agent?
Yes. No, he was your baby. He
had 100+ tackles 4 years at Wisconsin. How'd no one take this guy? And then I give TJ so much credit just give him credit for a second. He works his way up, undrafted guy, special teamer, part-time player, full-time linebacker, gets his contract in Chicago. Truly and honestly, it made me so happy to see him get his bat. Like it made me and he played well in Chicago. I think he has Edmonds next to him. It makes me really happy seeing someone like him. And it's so good. It sucks as an Eagle fan after watching Jordan Hicks leave and be good for like 5 years. Now watch TJ leave and go be good. It hurts, but I love seeing my guys get their bag.
Yeah. Cool. No, I completely agree. No, look, as a Cubs fan, I could not agree more. Yeah, I hated seeing Rizzo leave, but he's got a lot of money from the Yankees. Chris Bryant is miserable in Denver, but hey, he's miserable and rich in Denver. Javi Baez is getting paid so much money to suck with the Tigers. Like, no, I'm completely with you. And by the way, Amp, we got to get your brother on the show first of all, because I'd love to hear you guys debate.
Yeah, if you're offering me a 4th or 5th for Justin, I'm telling you, no, absolutely not.
Right. If I'm getting a second, I'm doing cartwheels.
50 pick, you say thank you and sprint to the podium. It's that.
No, a second rounder for Justin, I'm doing cartwheels. That's
a very reasonable price.
But yeah, anyway, but I do want to acknowledge, I do recognize Justin did have that one good stretch in his second season, and he still couldn't get it done.
My response more or less is cool. Yeah, we've seen guys be good for stretches of time and then like not be good. And again, it comes down to and this is why I give a little bit of credence, sympathy, empathy, whatever semantic you want to use, to Bears fan in the situation. I understand the feeling of we have this guy who's already here and we think could get here. There's a guy who's here and could get way up here, but we want to stay with the guy that we already know is here. Because we already know, Justin, I was saying here today, is probably the 3rd best quarterback in Bears franchise history. Even for all of my stuff talk about him, I think he's a top 3 quarterback in Bear history, if not top 5.
Well, okay. Are we counting Sid Luckman?
For sake of argument, sure.
Okay, so Sid Luckman, number 1. Look, four championships for Sid Luckman. I can
Sid, Cutler, McMahon.
Sid, Cutler, McMahon.
Maybe Orton. Maybe. And actually, no. I'm going to say Caleb's better than Orton, in my personal opinion.
Oh, Justin
or Justin. I think Justin's better.
Why are their names both? Why does
so annoying? I think
the names aren't similar, but they're so similar. But yeah,
Kramer.
You know me. I die on my Josh McCown hill of 2013 Josh McCown.
Valid.
I think he's the best.
Already Kramer, one of the better quarterbacks.
You're forgetting Eric Kramer. Kramer, I know he was only 1 year, but we take what we could get. He was really good in 95.
Sure. But so already Justin's already been one of the better quarterbacks in the Bears history, but that's not impressive. It's he's here on the Bears scale, but compared to the rest of the league, that's down here.
Yes. No, exactly. And that's kind of what I've been going back to saying.
I am very lucky. I got to watch
the Bears, watching Bears quarterback.
Kevin Cobb, go into Michael Vick, go into Nick Foles, go into Carson, I got very lucky.
Watching Bears
comparatively, it's way up. So if you put Justin, for example, into Eagles quarterback history, he's way down here, right? But in Bears, he's way up here. it's because certain franchises have had more quarterbacks than others.
Yes.
And you can
yes,
already have a guy
we've had the linebackers. Like, I don't know who the best linebacker in, freaking, I'm trying to think of an example, like Seahawks history. Is it Brian Bosworth? Oh no, Bobby Wagner. Maybe that's an example. But yeah, but look, here's what I'm saying. What want to say? Justin Fields still on the Bears. I don't know if that's true, Richard. Amp is saying everyone forget who are, but like I don't know if that's true, Richard, but it's believable. I buy it. How does everyone forget who our O coordinator and how bad our O line was? And some fans want to get rid of the best QB the Bears have ever drafted. First of all, no, believe me, I have not forgotten how bad our offensive coordinator was. I have not even come close to forgetting how bad our offensive coordinator was. I do think our offensive line is better than people give credit for, and I recognize that the best quarterbacks are able to tweak their offensive lines and say, "Hey, block this guy. He's coming on the blitz," or maybe shift to the left, whatever. Or I know Peyton Manning's kind of an outlier, but like,
or like, can
the
I make
really
an
really
argument?
good ones are able to call these things out. Like they're able to sense the game. So yeah, the O line wasn't always good. But that's also like the quarterback has to elevate them. The quarterback absolutely.
Can I make a point? So like
Yes.
it was like a sort of running joke in the NFL about how bad the Eagles play calling was this year, right? It was sort of like a running like
By the way, it was really bad.
right. Jalen was still able to be a top 10 quarterback in basically every statistical category and get big wins against good teams like the Chiefs, like the Bills, like the Dolphins. They collapsed at the end, no argument. But like that matters, is it not? I don't know. As an outside observer, I would go, "Oh, look at him overcoming the dysfunction to win games." So like there have been other quarterbacks who have done that. I guess Matt Stafford's a great credit. Matt Stafford won a ton of games in Detroit with not a lot of talent around him. He won a lot of football games.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about this today about how like Stafford's I think Stafford's going to be a Hall of Famer, and I think it's because like he came into the Lions and like like they didn't always have awesome years, and he did get hurt a little bit, but like they were pretty good always, like as long as he was there, and like the Eagles this year kind of decimated offensive line at points during the season, and like some of that play calling, like, oh my gosh, we criticized the Bears play calling. I don't know if you saw the Coleman breakdown. No, you should watch the Coleman breakdown because it might, like, I know you've seen it all, and I know you analyze the Eagles better than anyone, but like it might give you some vindication or validation rather, and some just like peace of mind knowing like you're not going crazy.
Richard had another great point. So it's like, and I would propose this to Bears fans as a whole, but particularly those in like the pro Justin camp, because I think this is like an important scale, so to speak. How much of the blame comes on the coaching for being bad versus Justin for not being talented enough? If you said to me it's like 90-10, the coaches are awful and 10% Justin did bad, then I don't take you seriously, because that's just not. There's no logical way. If you said it was like 70-30, 60-40, okay, I'll hear you out on that. Like, yeah, maybe the coaching was really bad and he was not talented enough to overcome bad coaching. Sure, I'll accept that argument.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things that's impossible to quantify. But one thing I will say before I do want to move on to talking about less volatile topics,
yes,
just in terms of
there's a lot of fun stuff. Like,
yes, there's fun stuff. I want to make my last point though, which is that watching like I said, watching Bears quarterbacks growing up, and like all of us, like we're not used to the idea that a quarterback's job is to be efficient. And like in most games, really good quarterbacks are able to put their team in position to win, or at least position to score like consistently. Right. And great quarterbacks, they elevate their defense because day one in training camp, they come in and they, and it's like the defense, like they get hyped. They're like, oh man, like we got this guy slinging the rock. Like ask Ray Lewis about the first time he saw Joe Flacco throw a football. Like it's you could win.
Phenomenal point.
Like it absolutely matters. Like the psychological effect that Patrick Mahomes has on his defense is outstanding. And I do not think I'm underselling that. I don't think I'm overselling that at all. Like that cannot be stressed enough. Just how like Tom Brady for years, and I know like these are the ultimate outliers, but like like, yes, obviously Belichick's a brilliant coach and all that, but like when you have someone in the building who works as hard and is as prepared and is as smart and as savvy and as just overall talented as Tom Brady, then yeah, the defense is going to give that extra push because they're playing with that confidence. Like, we know we can win because we have that guy. We have this guy. And yes, absolutely, Richard. Bears fans are
good is the enemy of great, my dude. Yes. Good is the enemy of great. And
good is the enemy of great.
But so I guess that's okay. And that's okay. It's a thing across sport. People are afraid of greatness, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know,
to be clear, I don't blame certain people for being afraid. If you haven't experienced greatness, I get why it's a scary concept. I totally get it.
I've been blessed to see a hockey team be great. I've seen a great hockey team. I've seen a great baseball team. For a couple years, really, the Cubs were really, really something for.
They were awesome, man.
4 years. What'd you say?
They were awesome, dude. They were they were awesome. As an outside observer, they were so cool.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, what a cool team. You know what I mean?
No, we kind of have the opposite thing going on in baseball and football. Like you and I.
Valid, totally valid.
Yeah, but it's like we don't understand how good quarterback. It's like honestly, the Bears are like porn, but the opposite. It's like it skews your expectations for what the reality is supposed to be, but for the worse. Tell me I'm wrong.
Good one. Wow, that was such a good one.
I was very proud of that.
I was like, where's he going with this? Oh, he nailed that. Like, yeah, exactly.
It's like, because we get so it's just the opposite. It's like we get so excited for this crazy. I gotta give
credit. The 05 White Sox was a great team. I have to credit to you. That was
I know we got a lot of Sox fans on the show. Yeah, 05 White Sox. Thanks, Dad. Are the like that they were fun. They were very fun. What they did in the playoffs was unbelievable.
At like 7, beast, absolute beast.
Yes. Anyway, I'm gonna put a bow on this conversation, but no, we're not going anywhere because we still got a lot of ball to talk. But I do want to say thank you everyone for chiming in. Of course, I know it gets a little heated. Even you, Frank. It's
Frank,
all respect here.
It's all love, babe.
It's all respect for all of you. And Jeremy, I appreciate
I love fans who care about their team. It's awesome. I love fans who give this much of a crap about their teams. It's really
at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We just want different ways of going about it.
Exactly, we all want.
It's not like politics where it's like, no, you're an asshole. It's sports, so it's like, we all have our opinions.
I want the Bears raising a Super Bowl title. In any given year, for me personally, if the Eagles are not lifting a Super Bowl trophy in every year, I want it to be the Bears. Because again, I have very close personal friends of mine who mean a lot to me and have been phenomenal in my life, who are diehards. Elijah is one of them. Friends from Missouri. I truly love the Bears are my step. Can I say that? The Bears are my step team.
Yeah, no, that's I think of us more like cousins.
Yeah,
y'all are the older cousin, but we're cousins. No, I think I would have said the same about the Eagles until y'all won the Super Bowl.
Right, because, and now we got ours. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I still root for you guys because I got off the plane in New York and you bought me a bagel, so like that's enough to win me over. But
his bagel, and another time we need to discuss Elijah's bagel.
Yeah, we got to. Oh God, don't. Oh man, that's gonna be crazy. But anyway, you know what else is good besides bagels is Moore's beer. You all should drink it sometime. We're gonna pay a quick bill, and then we're gonna move on and talk about the other positions in football besides the quarterback one. So more. Oops. Wait.
Listen, shout out to my man Terrence from Chicago's Clubhouse podcast from the Moore's Brewing Company here in Chicago, Illinois. All right, we got bros out here putting out this for the Moors. It's tasty. I didn't even have to come on here and lie about this. All right, this tastes like what I like when I drink a beer. I don't drink a beer often because I'm too big and I need to stay off of carbonated drinks. But this is the carbonated drink you need to open up and crack and take a sip. All right, if you want to come out of the dark ages, be educated. All right, get you some of this Moore's brew right here. It's definitely tasty. You can get it in Kimbark and High Park.
Whoa. I thought we were a team. Where's mines? And when are we getting in Tempe, Arizona?
I guess we're going to have to find out, man. But everybody out there, for here in Chicago, go to Kimbark and pick you up some Moore's.
Yes, Yes, Richard, a bagel.
Shout out
It was a
Morris.
really good New York bagel. So yeah, but no, I mean, no, like I have no issues. My grandparents are Eagles fans, so my grandpa and my grandma on my mom's side are Eagles fans. So yeah, like I've always had a soft spot for them. And I got a couple really good friends, Noah and Oren, who sometimes on the show.
And we met when we were like 5 and 6. We've been influencing each other's fandom like since forever.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where it's like
the Bears were my NFL Street team. I don't know if you know that.
NFL Street, the Bears with Cordell Stewart.
Yeah, that's
unstoppable.
Right, boy.
Absolutely. It is a cheat code because Cordell Stewart, like I said
earlier,
is
monster, dude.
No, so good.
And they had like a really big offensive tackle who played defensive line in Street as well.
Well, Olin Kreutz was the
yeah.
Well,
and like I love
yes.
The Bears and Rams go to NFL Street teams.
What? Pardon?
Bears and Rams go to NFL Street teams for me personally.
Oh yeah. Oh well, yeah. Marshall Faulk and Torrey Holt and
Orlando Pierce.
Orlando Pace. Oh yeah. Really, for me, it's the Bears and the Steelers because I wouldn't pick a quarterback. I'd go Randall L. And just run some option all day. Like that was always fun. Or I mean,
speaking of cool prospects, there are some coolest prospects that could go at the 9th overall pick, which is fun. And there's like cool stuff there.
That is true. 1 second, I want to read this comment by St. Patrick Day. Will know. Yeah.
Earlier than that, I mean, I would think by like Monday at this point for me.
I do.
I truly think like by Monday, like we're gonna do because there's already sort of these the little nuggets, right? I don't know if you guys saw that Justin's agent posted a video of him screaming, "I'm going home." He's from Atlanta. There are the little nuggets being dropped that I think become the happy meal that is a trade by Monday.
Yes, little nuggets, couple nuggets,
nuggets and fries.
Couple French fries sprinkled in. Fields in the same position as Mitch and struggled that bad. I would have had an easier time with this breakup. I think they've struggled equally as bad. But
he's been slightly better, but not enough so that you stick with him over having the ability. If they didn't have the first overall pick, and we're talking about taking like McCarthy or Knicks or whatever, 1,000% stick with Justin and the physical upside. But you have the ability to go get.
Yeah, no, like the fact that we're in this position is such a blessing.
If Carolina hadn't completely botched themselves and given y'all it, yeah, I agree. Stick at 9, take a guy, and stick with Justin. But they did, so do it.
All right, so you want to talk Bears full mock draft, or what do you want to do?
Hit me, yeah. Let's go Bears full mock for sure.
All right, so
you know me. So for those unaware, a lot of you know this. I am like a obsessive nerd when it comes to like day 3 and the day 2 and 3 picks. So like I can tell you about like the 5th round receiver to get excited about or whatever. Like, so like, and the Bears who have a decent amount of holes in the team can fill a lot of them on draft day, I think.
I called Romeo Dobbs. You called someone really good recently too.
Dobbs at 9 makes a lot of sense. I don't think Dobbs makes
No. I mean, I called Romeo Dobbs. Like, I'm sorry, like
right. You were on Dobbs from day 1. Yeah.
Yes. Who was your? You had one too recently. I always forget. You had someone really good, who ended up being really good. I can't remember.
Last year was a Chain. A Chain was my guy last year. I took him in my dynasty.
Oh yeah.
I told you about him from day 1. Like,
he was one of those Madden darlings.
Yeah, I got him in my fantasy dynasty draft like 3 rounds early, knowing he was going to be a Chain. Like, yeah, a Chain was my guy last year.
This mock draft says the Bears trade the number 1 pick, so I'm not going to read it because I think that's bullshit.
No.
Let's see. I'll see this one. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Oh, maybe a lot of people have the Bears trading. Interesting. Maybe I'm wrong.
No one's gonna, unless it's like Washington moving up or New England moving up. No one's gonna offer you enough to move back all the way. Again, it's Caleb. But again, there are options at 9 where it's like in most draft classes you don't get 2 top 10 picks. That's not a thing that happens.
So in this scenario, it has the Bears trading back and get with the Seahawks and getting
which already won't happen because there's already a report the Seahawks are dealing with Geno for the next year and they're committed to him, which makes sense because
I could see them getting Michael Penix. Not
in the first though.
Probably not in the first, but like to back up Geno, absolutely. Like in the second or third round.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But there are options at 9. There's going to be guys there at 9, regardless of the mocks and the trades, whatever. There's going to be guys there that make sense.
So this one has them getting Dallas Turner. agree with that.
No, it's a good pick. So there's no elite edge rusher. There's no Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, Aiden Hutchinson, whatever, right?
Right.
There are a couple of guys that it's going to be a individual organization to organization where you have them. And I think generally speaking, the top 3 edges are Jared Verse, Dallas Turner, and Chop Robinson. Chop Robinson, who had an incredible first day at the Combine, for those like me who watch the Combine because you are a sick individual. He ran like a gazelle, ran like receivers and linebackers do. I'm a huge Chop fan. He's very violent with the hands. I love watching guys. He doesn't have the sack numbers. He's violent and he's fast, but needs a little bit of technique. Dallas Turner came into the year as the top edge prospect in college football and then played like good. Like he didn't go crazy, didn't have it, played fine. Which is, for me personally, if you come in as like a number 1 prospect and don't do anything to elevate it, but don't do anything to devalue, you're still number 1 in my head. Does that, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So like,
I still think offensive tackle is the way to go.
We talk about elite edge rushers, blue chip position, blue chip, edge, left tackle, quarterback. These are elite blue chip important positions. If you can get a blue chip at 9, Dallas at that point might be the last blue chip on the board.
See, I'll tell you why I don't love that. I mean, I don't dislike it because you know, I mean, I'm a pass rush guy. I'm a big pass rush guy. Like you need, like I think that's like the bread and butter of a defense. Of course, you got to get after the quarterback. Even if you don't get sacks, you cause him to throw early and get some picks. Like that's even better. I think that I want to sign Danielle Hunter. That's I think like overpay him. I don't care. Give him a little bit more than he probably deserves. Which, by the way, like he's really good. He deserves a lot. Get him opposite Montez Sweat. Then you have 2 really, really strong outside linebackers, or excuse me, not outside linebackers, outside edge rushers.
Right, edges.
Just edge rushers. Yeah, that's the word. English is hard. And then you have that to go with some really young guys who could still be very good on the defensive line, like a Jervon Dexter.
It's a decent interior defensive line class. Like I think if they sign like Unzurike from Baltimore, who had 13 sacks this year, makes a ton of sense because the Bears still need that sort of like interior presence to collapse the pocket to make those edge rushers' lives a lot easier.
Yeah, and by the way, I like Justin Jones. Justin Jones is
right. There's bodies there, but no one who makes you like excited, you know, or like who you have like the proven like, oh, they can do it. If you plug in a guy who just this year had 13 sacks as an interior lineman next to Sweat, and then you take Turner, whoa! Suddenly overnight, whoa! Look at this line.
Yeah, look at this line, and look how like I mean, like you got so much depth there too. You got, like,
and today's league, and so I want to make it. So Jeremy made a good point. If it's sort of like whatever the Bears don't do in free agency, they'll do in the draft. So let's say they walk into free agency, and let's say they sign a Saquon or a Josh Jacobs, and then they go out and sign like another receiver. Yeah, they're probably going to go with a Jared Verse or a defensive prospect. If they go on the defensive side of the ball in signing an Andrew Van Ginkel or whatever, or whoever it may be, yeah, they'll go line. That being said, I think the Bears are it's weird. They're in a bad position and that they need help kind of everywhere, but they're in a good position. They can genuinely sit there and take the best player on the board. Or let's say they've got, let's say they've got 7 blue chip prospects and they want to trade up for one, they can go and do that. They're in like in a position of like, we can fill what we need to fill based on how the board and, to Jeremy's point, free agency breaks.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that, that's what people might struggle a little to understand, but it's true. It's that you can get, it is usually the inverse of what you do in free agency.
And like free agency is really meant to be before the draft in the NFL, because free agency is how you fill like a lot of holes. And then the draft is like, okay, what's that thing we didn't get done? Let's make sure we fill that. So like my biggest one I always think of when the Eagles way overdrafted Jalen Reagor, they felt this need to get a receiver who was fast. They just had to get a fast receiver in the building. I don't know. Maybe in an alternate universe, they sign DJ Chark and take someone else in that pick. You know what I mean? It really all depends on what you need and what you got.
And by the way, they ended up getting Devontae Smith, which just worked out nicely for them. Well, he's good. He's a really good.
No, it's
receiver.
great. It just in my head, I'm like, I could have had Justin Jefferson for him.
I know. And
I know
he
how
and
to
AJ Brown. Something.
But no,
hey,
there
he
are
might be on the
guys
market.
in mind that make a lot of sense for the Bears. I think Brock Bowers could be a really, really great piece in this offense. I know they've got Kmet, but Bowers is so unique in what he does. It's like
I don't think he falls past the Giants.
so it's interesting because there's a really big sort of gap in like how evaluators see him and how front offices see him. And my understanding from what I've read and my research, front offices like him a lot more than scouts do. If you read a lot of these mocks, he's going 14, 16, 18, and then a lot of front office guys go, he's a top 10 pick. He's one of the best. He's arguably a top 3 prospect in the draft. Like, I don't see Bowers going back Chargers. If Odunze is on the board, and here's the thing, the Chargers kind of back themselves into a corner by drafting Quentin Johnson and then him being terrible, which if you recall, I said he's a big body receiver who doesn't play big and he's terrible.
Yes.
I think that there are going to be teams who will inherently be scared off by the idea of taking a tight end that high, but a organization who has like the chutzpah to say, yeah, we don't care, we're doing what we're doing, then he goes top 10. And I think the Bears,
if Harbaugh wants him, they're getting him.
Yeah. If Harbaugh wants him, he's going there, inarguably.
But I also think, I do believe in the idea that, like, yeah, tight ends, you can always find a diamond in the rough at tight end, I think, like in the 3rd or 4th round. I think
the Bears have someone there. So, like, how much? So, like, what is he off? So, like, if it's like Odunze or Neighbors, yeah. But again, it's sort of like
I like Odunze, by the way. Odunze, I think, would
like
get
Marvin, drop to Odunze and Neighbors, and then drop to everyone else. And whoever you have, whether it's Keon Coleman or Brian Thomas next, whoever it may be, it's that drop next.
I like Odunze. I think he could be very good. I like Neighbors too. Who do you like more?
Neighbors amongst like the NFL. So like Steve Smith, I was on this broadcast, said that like Neighbors is like wide receiver 1B. People are really, really, really high on Neighbors. People are really high on him. If the Bears walk out with like Caleb and Neighbors, they should do cartwheels to the bank.
Really?
Absolutely. It's similarly to in any other draft, Drake May is a hands down QB1 and has the like disservice or whatever or unluckiness of being in a draft with Caleb. Yeah, and any other draft, Neighbors is WR1, zero hesitation. He happens to be in a draft with MJ with Marvin Harrison. Like that sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it is unfortunate. But do you think? But so you do think Neighbors is better than Odunze?
I personally would say yes. Odunze is a big body receiver who plays like a big body, but I also think he's going to be a little bit limited in his route tree. And I think he benefited from playing with Michael Penix, who's a really, really good quarterback. Malik Neighbors pre-Jaden Daniels was great. Even like with Jaden Daniels there, Brian Thomas caught more touchdown passes. Like Neighbors is just a more complete receiver. He runs the full route tree. He'll go over like to me, he's Stephon Diggs. That's my comp for him. I think he's Stephon Diggs.
All right,
the full route tree, inside, outside, and Odunze to me is more kind of like a T. Higgins, like outside, big body, jump ball guy, and like both those guys are really good receivers.
Good, like make a couple Pro Bowl receivers. Yeah, like those are guys who'll make a couple Pro Bowls. Good compliments to DJ Moore. Like, yeah, those are solid players. I want to talk about. We're gonna move on to round 2. Here we have. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna get his name wrong. But a defensive lineman from Clemson, Rook
Orakoroko. Yeah, no. Multi-positional guy can play inside, outside, and 3-4. Look, Clemson is not Clemson that they were a couple of years ago. Quite bluntly, Dabo Swinney has sort of been the old man yelling at the clouds at Clemson about NIL and all that, and his program has suffered as such. They still get really talented players. That's a guy, he reminds me of, I forget his name, but the guy the Chiefs took last year out of Kansas State, who was his thing coming out was like, he can play all 4 spots in the line, inside, outside, versatility. That is the vibe of the Clemson guy.
All right, well, there you go. So
which the Bears makes sense. You need someone who can kind of play up and down the line, and wherever he fills the hole is where he fills the hole.
So good versatility is really a selling point. when it comes to those guys,
if a guy's number one selling point is versatility, to me, it's a bit of a red flag in round one because in round one,
going to say the same thing.
In round two, it's good.
I was going to say the same thing. That's like when the Packers got Lucas Van Ness last year.
Great point.
Yeah.
Nothing special about him.
Yes, and I like I like the idea of going center. You know who I love, and you might disagree with me, but really my only analysis isn't. I haven't watched any of his film. I've seen his games because he plays for a good team, but his face looks like he's going to be a good lineman, and that is Powers Johnson.
Powers Johnson at Oregon. He's a really good lineman. He's the best. So I was just talking to a friend about it. It's like Linderbaum, but he's bigger. Like, if you remember the type Linderbaum got coming out, I think Powers goes top 25, potentially top 20. He will not be other than the second. Absolutely no shot.
Even as a center?
Shot at all. No shot. He's too good.
That's why if I'm the Bears, I consider trading
really good interior line prospects. There's a guy, I forget his name, but the center from the University of Connecticut, who, for those unaware, UConn had football, didn't have it for a few years. Former UCLA coach Jim Mora came and brought back football to the program. The general consensus is that I forget his name. The center from UConn has the best hands in the draft, and he's a strong guy. So the UConn center would make a lot of sense in the second for the Bears.
I'm trying to find him. Let's see. Center.
I mean, you look at UConn center, it gives you basketball, not football. But
yeah, exactly. That's the issue. Wait, where?
But he had a couple of reps against Tavondre Sweat, who, for those unaware, is a defensive tackle from Texas who is like 360. And generally speaking, when you do Senior Bowl practices, these are drills more kind of built to help the defensive lineman. It's one-on-one drills, whatever. And he held his own against a 360-pound defensive tackle. I remember I was watching the practices again like a psycho and being like, oh, this guy's really good. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And I also, in addition to that, I do like kind of all the centers in this. Oh, it's I think. Wait, the UConn logo is like that weird little the navy blue.
Correct. The navy blue U with the white in it.
The cat looking thing. Yeah. So yeah, his name is Hunter Norzad.
Is that it? Not. It might be. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, yeah. There are some really good centers in this draft just overall. I wouldn't hate to see the Bears as what's his name, as Richard suggested. I wouldn't mind seeing the Bears trade out of 9, get their second round pick back.
Christian Hayes, I think is what it is. Christian Hayes.
And,
there we go.
I wouldn't mind seeing them trade back. I wouldn't mind seeing them trade back a few spots at 9, get their second round pick back, and maybe get another first round pick.
Particularly when you're talking about what's
just so they could draft Howard Johnson.
Totally, or moving back and taking
assuming there's no offensive tackle, neither of the two offensive tackles in Alt or Pachano available.
Because we're gonna see cornerback is a position that's not a Bears need, and I think they're gonna benefit. There's gonna be a run on them. I think from 14 to 20. I think what makes a lot of sense for the Bears, trade back from 9 for someone coming up for one of those blue chips, or maybe even a quarterback if McCarthy or whoever it is separates themselves. And you're sitting there able to take an Amarius Mims, a CJ Latham, a Tyler Guyton, a really, really, really high upside offensive tackle. Because as of right now, you've got a guy who's a decent NFL starter at tackle. If you have the ability to someone who these guys might be busts. Absolutely. If they didn't have bust potential, they'd go in the top 10. But they have the ability to be Pro Bowl level tackles. Latham, Mims, Fuaga, these type of guys. If you can move back from 9 to that 12, 16 range and add a day 2 pick and take one of them, totally do it, I would say. Absolutely.
All right. Well, you know what?
The tackle class specifically is really, really good.
It is. And, and the thing is,
interior line, not as great.
And the thing is, if you are going to be drafting, the next franchise quarterback, you're going to want to get him some good protection. Right. And that's why I'm I don't want to.
You want to get him something, whether it's a franchise pass protector or a brand new weapon to throw to,
Yes.
or someone to hand the ball to. So in a hypothetical world, pure hypothetical, where like Bijan was in this draft, if you take Caleb at 1 and then Bijan at 9, that would make a lot of sense. If someone takes pressure off of him, it helps him in some capacity. The idea is at 9, help him in some way. Whether that's giving him someone to block for him, whether that's giving someone to throw the ball to, whether that's giving him a defensive prospect who gets the team off the field on third down more so he gets the ball back in his hands. Whatever it is, the idea is supporting him. That's the idea.
And in addition to that, I want to say, when we're talking about, like getting that potential defensive prospect, round 3 here has us getting Austin Booker from Kansas.
Ooh, I like that one. Another one of those sort of high risers. I give Kansas a lot of credit. Basketball school, it's risen a lot.
Yeah.
One of those twitchy athlete tweener type guys. I personally have him more in the 4th, 5th round, but it's going to depend a lot on testing. He's one of those guys, like certain guys go to the combine, do their pro days, and test in the top 10th percentile and explode. He could, I forget his name, the linebacker from NC State just today ran like the best 40, had like a 91-inch like wingspan. Like certain guys explode at combine. He could be one of those guys for sure.
No, well, all right. I could go for a guy like that. The Bears generally have a pretty good ability to scout running backs of all things. Like that's one thing I think we do a pretty solid
Absolutely.
job.
Now, I will say this. If they're going to go the running back route, I think there's other guys there that make more sense for the scheme. Because like you got Roschon Johnson, who has the potential to be like a 3-down type do-it-all guy. I think they would benefit from a guy more like a Braylon Allen out of Wisconsin.
They have us using the pick that we got from you for Jalen Carter to draft Jalen Wright from Tennessee in round 4.
Jalen Wright, great run. I'm a huge Jalen Wright fan. Has the ability.
And that's a Tennessee hater right there.
Run upfield. Jalen Wright's really good. He also has like one of the vibes almost opposite of Braylon Allen, where he comes into the league. This is very similar to Roschon. Comes into the league not having a lot of tread on the tires. Was part of a running back committee at Tennessee. Has the ability to sort of take the ball and take over. But again, you sort of, in my opinion, you have that in Roschon.
Right. Exactly. That's why I'm not like.
They need a guy that can get him 3 yards on 3rd and 2. They need that in their team.
Honestly, when I found out Josh Jacobs might not return to the Raiders.
I don't think he's going to.
You don't think he's going to return to the Raiders? I've always been such a Josh Jacobs.
The Raiders are in like this weird, like transitional new coach, rookie 4th rounder from last year who maybe will start. They're in a week. So like it doesn't make a lot of sense for the Raiders to give a big contract to running back right now.
If Josh Jacobs wants to
competing for anything of significance in the next 2 years, do you think?
Well, no, because look, I think that I love Antonio Pierce. I think he's a really good coach.
I think he's gonna do great things. I'm a big fan of him as a coach and a person, but it's Dan Campbell took a few years, right?
And not to mention,
So Dan Campbell took a few years, right?
Yes.
Would it have made sense for during that time frame the Lions to be paying a running back 15, 20 million? It wouldn't have made sense.
They waited to get Montgomery until they were ready.
So that's why he's going to walk, because they know
that's why
he's paying right now.
See, where I'm at with it is I feel for Antonio Pierce because I think he's an excellent. I think he's going to be an excellent coach.
Absolutely.
He's in a division with Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, and Sean Payton. That's too many good. That's like they can't all make the playoffs every year. And look, we both were salivating over Antonio Pierce saying like, we're going to get our money's worth. Basically, we're going to.
And I love the Mahomes rule. I love that. If I'm a Raiders fan, a Raiders player, having my coach say, "Oh, remember when the Detroit Pistons beat the crap out of Michael Jordan? We're doing that to Mahomes." That makes me super excited.
That's
you gotta
literally
do the only thing. That is the
only thing I wanted a Bears head coach to say about Aaron Rodgers throughout my life.
I know. I know, dude.
You know as well as anyone. Like Mark Trestman would never fucking do that. Matt Nagy, are you kidding? Like these good guys. Like, come on, give me.
Mark Trestman catching a stray in 2024 was not expected. But
it is Chicago Clubhouse Network. He's going to catch a lot of strays. But I will say about Mark Trestman real quick is he's with the Chargers now. He's an senior offensive consultant. So honestly, like I get it. I think he and Harbaugh actually.
You know what? In hindsight, I give the Bears credit for trying to zig and being like, "We're gonna sign the CFL guy."
No,
Like,
no,
I give him
please.
credit for
No,
trying.
don't insult my intelligence like
He
that.
tried. I liked
No,
it. He
no.
was cool.
Yeah, you know who was available though? Bruce Arians. You know who was available though? Andy Reid. Yeah. Real smart, Chicago. Real smart, Chicago. Wait out. You really you didn't just screw the pooch.
But point being, there are guys for the Bears to take. Who I'm curious, who do they have them going in the later rounds?
All right, so I want to talk about another prospect, which is I don't know if I should stand up or like Adonai Mitchell, like what do I?
Adonai Mitchell,
Oh,
wide receiver.
Okay. You could call him by his name.
Adonai Mitchell.
It's Adonai.
Adonai.
It's Hashem. I want him so bad because then I can say, "Oh, look, we got Hashem."
Deep threats in the class who also offers good size as deep threat. I think DJ Chark, who I mentioned earlier, is actually a decent comp for him.
Yeah, like they're big but like skinny. They don't necessarily play big.
Big, skinny, fast.
Yes,
that is the Donai. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's going to be more in the second, third round range.
Probably, yeah.
More than the 3-4. So like I could so see the Bears going in that range. I think like a Jalen Polk out of Washington makes more sense in that range.
I hope he's good because the fantasy teams they're gonna have the best names.
So there's a guy who I'm a huge fan of, who I want the Eagles to take, but makes so much sense as a Bear. Guy named Johnny Wilson from Florida State.
Johnny Wilson.
As you know, I'm a Florida Gator fan.
Oh yeah.
Freshman year, I saw him get in at the end of Florida versus Florida State, and I texted my dad, who went to Gainesville for 7 years, 4 of undergrad, 3 of law school, and said, "Who is this Seminole?" And it was Johnny Wilson, who was a 6'7", 225-pound receiver. He is an absolute monster. I implore the fans to go watch his tape. You want to talk about a big body who plays big? That is him. And he's not going to have great combine numbers. He'll have a slow 40. The 3 cone's going to be slow.
It says here his 40 time is 4.42. That's competitive.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Wait a minute now. Are you telling me Johnny Wilson ran a 4.42?
That's what it says on NFL Draft Buzz.
It's craziness. That's not okay. You shouldn't be. Sounds like a freak of nature. Like you shouldn't be 6'7" running 4.42.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fair.
You know what? Johnny Wilson's just skyrocketed up draft boards. But
I don't know when he ran that 40, but that's pretty damn good.
That's craziness. But no, there will be again. This is a really good receiver draft, so you'll get like a day 2 guy early in round 4 because there's going to be a lot of other receivers who go.
And they also, like on the subject of like we're probably getting Caleb Williams. They have us getting Taj Washington from USC round 5.
Oh, I like that. Give him a little familiarity. It's not exactly Burrow and
Chase.
But there is a little bit of comfort of coming in and having a guy to throw to who you threw to for college. Like that is the nice little thing.
Yeah, like Jay Cutler and his former Vanderbilt teammate Earl Bennett, which they never mentioned on the broadcast that they were Vanderbilt.
Shout out Mr. Bennett.
Yeah, shout out Earl Bennett. Is Jerry Rice's kid not coming out this year?
He's next year.
Okay.
Year. I think he needs 1 more year. Yeah.
Yeah. And Dad,
so a former player's kid who is coming out this year that would make sense for the Bears in that 4th, 5th round range is Frank Gore Jr. out of SMU.
Oh.
Who again is one of those like under like little like almost like 5'9", 210, like little stocky build the ball.
His pop is 5'9". If he's anything like his old man, like he'll be good.
Frank Gordon makes sense. There's also a guy at Kentucky, Ray Davis, I believe his name is. I could be mistaken, but Kentucky has another power back coming out.
Oh well, there you go.
I'll give you good credit. They've produced a lot of decent running backs in the last couple of years.
Yeah. So then we got the other names mentioned in this mock draft. AJ Barner, the tight end from Michigan.
Tight end's a sneaky need for the Bears. You need someone kind of behind Kmet. He makes sense. There's a guy from Miami. What's his name? I can't really know off the top of my head. The tight end in Miami is getting a lot of hype as like a 4, 5, 6, 4th, 5th 6th round type guy, more of a move tight end, pass catcher. He makes a lot of sense there. Jaheim Bell, there it is. Jaheim Bell from Miami would make sense at the position as well.
I could go for that. Yeah, no, I mean, we're going to need, a late round pick for a tight end, someone solid to come in.
Someone to sort of be fast and catch the ball. Cool.
Then a 4th round pick, great name, is Kaiton Oladipo. Tell me about him.
Ooh, don't know the name off the top of my head. Is that
He's Oregon State safety.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Yes, the Oregon State safety. Big physical box safety. Wants to play downhill, play in the box. Eddie Jackson likely gone after this year. I don't see them investing a high draft pick on like a Cameron Kitchens or a Nubin from Minnesota. A 4th round safety makes a lot of sense. He is a big physical box safety.
And, we have that in Brisker. That's the one thing is like.
Right. Brisker's sort of filling that role. But you know what? You can never have enough guys that play downhill and hurt somebody. You can never have enough of those guys.
You know what? You're not wrong about that, especially in today's NFL. Filling as like a sub linebacker type thing.
With like more sub linebackers playing in the box. Absolutely.
I love a good big nickel.
That's can walk in day one, be a sub package guy for sure.
Yes. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this specific mock draft. Give me some sleepers, Noah. Like, give me some guys.
No, there are a lot of really fun prospects. Names escape me off the top of my head. There's a safety from Texas Tech who is I don't think they've tested safeties yet. He is projected to run one of, if not the fastest 40s at the combine while being like 6'4", 205, one of those size, speed missiles of a safety. Also doesn't believe in outer space or planets.
That was my favorite. I want him on my team.
Yeah. Also a tight end from, I believe, Iowa State who doesn't believe in birds.
Yeah, I've read that theory. That conspiracy doesn't impress me because
but you know what? It's always fun.
I like the guy who said I don't believe in planets. That's my guy. I want him.
That's a good one.
That's my guy. Adonai Mitchell today, he said earlier, they asked incredible. Wait, sorry, I want to hear what you're going to say, but before I forget, Adonai Mitchell said today, they asked. I think it was Adonai Mitchell. They said they asked him about route running, and he said, "Oh, I just cheat. I like if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I do whatever I can. Like I cheat to get open. I like that. To me, that's
I'm honestly a big fan of his. A receiver name to watch, Xavier Leggett from South Carolina. I think he is a really, really talented guy. Big body receiver, put up big numbers with another sleeper of mine, Spencer Rattler. Someone mentioned earlier on the podcast. I think we sort of forget mid-round quarterbacks who are in sort of maybe not great situations in college can be better. Big Rattler fan, has all the physical tools to be an NFL quarterback. Tavon is maybe my favorite interior defensive line prospect, just a big body that can maul people. I mentioned my UConn center. I'm trying to think. Braylon Allen, my running back pick from Wisconsin. I think he has the ability to be an absolute monster in the NFL. It reminds me a lot of A.J. Dillon coming out of Boston College, just big, physical, pound the ball up your up.
The problem is A.J. Dillon's often hurt. These guys get banged
up.
But
if A.J. Dillon wasn't getting hurt, you'd be fine. And Braylon Allen, to his credit,
I'm sorry, but thank goodness he is.
True. Braylon Allen, to his credit, has 3,000 career college rushes. He's just a sturdy workhorse.
Random fact: A.J. Dillon is Jewish.
True. And then not necessarily a sleeper, but just a name to watch, because you can't really call first rounders sleepers, but a name to watch as the process goes on is Quinyon Mitchell, the cornerback out of Toledo, led the NCAA in pass deflections and corners, top 5 in both. I'm a huge fan of his. He gives me Devon Witherspoon vibes from last year. I'm a really, really, really big Quinyon Mitchell fan. And I mentioned earlier, there's a group of cornerbacks where it's Quinyon Mitchell, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Terrion Arnold, Nate Wiggins, where there's a lot of corners, Ernest Rickstraw from Missouri, a lot of guys at the cornerback position. And depending on your evaluator, there's a very big difference in the one. Everyone has those 5 cornerbacks ranked differently.
You know who we stand for. You know who we stand for.
Kool-Aid, of course.
Well, no. Well, yes, but I was going to say Cooper DeJean.
Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, we're Cooper.
But
Yeah,
I'm a
I'm
really,
thinking,
really big Quinton Mitchell fan. I think of all the cornerbacks in this class, he has the highest ceiling of any cornerback in the class.
really.
I think, and particularly because this year he was asked to play less off coverage, where he's just breaking on a ball and getting picks, and was asked more to get up in receivers' faces. I'm a really, really big Quinton Mitchell guy.
You know, he's got a
Not great size, 6 foot,
no,
185.
he's got on NFL.com. He's got a 6.42 prospect grade, which means that like they expect him to be a good starter. He's the number 3. It's out, by the way, like the combine, like the NFL.com, the scout rate, like the scouting. I love this page. They have him ranked as the number 3 corner, right behind Arnold and Wiggins.
Right. So, and this is weird. So I'm personally not a huge. So Terrion Arnold and Kool-Aid McKistry played at Alabama together. I couldn't tell you the stats off the top of my head, but Kool-Aid stat or something like he got thrown at like 38 times, had like 2 picks and like 4 deflections. Whereas Arnold got thrown at like 70 times and has a lot more picks and more deflections. Me personally, I want the guy that offenses were afraid to throw at, rather than the guy who got thrown at and produced out of college.
No, that's like the Trent McDuffie pick with Kyler Gordon. Kyler Gordon was the one who got thrown at. Now Kyler Gordon is very good.
Kyler Gordon's great. So, but that was like the exception to the rule. I personally will think I will always take the guy who like defenses don't want to throw at.
No, but also like Trent McDuffie, they didn't want to throw at, and he's a great corner. So
All respect to Kyler Gordon, Trent McDuffie's playing like a Pro Bowl, all pro level corner.
Yes, yes, and Kyler Gordon is very good. Like, he'll get there.
He'll find because they got him there.
Yeah, and I do think, by the way, just on the record, I and this is maybe a little bit of a homer talk thing, but I do think Kyler Gordon will get to that level.
I think so, and
I think he'll be very good. I think he'll
do a really good job putting assets, bluntly, into the secondary that have kind of all worked. Like Jalen Johnson worked, Tyreek Stevenson worked, Jaquan Brisker worked. They've kind of gone bang, bang.
I think Stevenson could be a safety.
Oh, interesting.
I think if they didn't want to sign a safety, they could move him.
He has the size to transition for sure.
He's got that and it's also like a certain level of moxie. I think the ability. I think he could cover it. Like I'm very. The one thing I will say I'm like unbelievably high on for the Bears is the secondary. I think it looks very, very strong right now, and I'm happy with it. All very interesting prospects there. Let's see. These are interesting. I love reading when NFL.com comes out with their scouting reports on each individual quarterback and each player, and like reading their NFL comparisons.
Yeah,
it's a little weird though to see. I mean, look, they got Caleb compared to Kyler Murray.
No, it's a lazy comparison. I think he's Aaron Rodgers. That's my comment.
Lazy, and also remember Kyler is good.
Kyler's a good quarterback, but Caleb's also bigger, stronger, thicker, and throws a better football.
Yes. Yeah. No, there's no doubt about it. And look, Kyler's immensely talented. I think.
Just not necessarily Bears related, but there were some like good day 3 quarterback prospects. I really like Spencer Rattler. I'm a really big fan of his. I
hope the Bears draft a quarterback in round 5 as well. Like, it's good to have a contingency plan. As much as I do truly like Tyson Bagent as a backup, like I have no issues with. I think you should always be drafting quarterbacks. Like
you should more or less be drafting a quarterback every 2 years.
How do you like Bo Nix?
It's really an eye of the beholder thing. I think he's better than Penix, but I don't think he is someone I take before the late 2nd, early 3rd. But you said the same thing about not Fields, Jesus. Hurts. You said the same thing about him. You said, late 2nd, early 3rd, whatever. Bo was done the disservice of playing in a system not meant for him for 3 years, and then played really well for 2 years. So, you know what I mean?
I absolutely do. I think, he always reminded me of Mitch Trubisky at Auburn. So we'll see how that translates in the NFL. I think he gives me like, I think he's like a little bit cracked out. Mitch Trubisky. He's got an arm.
He gives me a lot of like Blake Bortles type vibes.
Blake
Big
Bortles.
body, deliver the ball downfield, move a little bit.
Earwax. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's I think we covered a lot of draft. We'll definitely do this again soon. And maybe we'll get some more people on. We'll do a full on first round.
Yeah, totally.
But I do want to wrap up because I think we both have the same thing going on where our dogs are going a little psycho.
Yeah.
To get out of the house a little bit. Look, man, it's been fun having you on as always.
As always, folks.
You were very animated tonight, and that's a good thing. It's good, important for the network. And yeah, as always, guys, thank you for tuning in. Especially like, I appreciate people who come tune in to disagree with me. Like, I don't mind that at all. I really appreciate it. Of course, I like when people agree with me because I'm always right. But shout out to I'll name everyone that I see.
Shout out Jeremy. Shout out Richard.
Shout out Jeremy. Even though we disagree, always appreciate your opinion. Richard, like having someone in my corner. And Amp, the brothers. That's very fun. Shout out to Emily, who I think made the best comment of the night. By the way, like, I'm not just saying that. I think Emily had the best comment of the evening. Then we had the only comment and the best comment. Shout out Frank. I know Frank and I like to butt heads.
How about Frank?
But hey, that's Frank's a very classic Bears fan. I'll just leave it at that. Crazy Ace, always good to have you on. Always good to chop it up with you. And of course, my dad. Shout out to my dad. Robbo is the GOAT. Oh wait, Emily had another comment. Oh no, she didn't. So yeah. And shout out to Bot Ricks. I don't know what you are still. I still don't know, but I appreciate you.
God bless you, Bot.
Thank you, AI. So with that, hey man, maybe we'll go to the playoffs next year.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
This has been a Chicago Clubhouse Network production.